It's the first day of spring along the old Silk Road in Central Asia. The people of Kazakhstan are celebrating their new year, Nowruz, a holiday that promises hope and renewal. This festival goes on for days, honoring a Kazakh culture that dates back to Genghis Khan. It's an ancient culture of warriors, nomads, and shamans. And it's home to one of the oldest instruments in the world, a tiny mouth harp. It's not as easy as it looks. I'll get the hang of it eventually. Wandering through this festival, I was constantly being surprised. It was all so unexpected, because all I'd seen of Kazakhstan before was in a Hollywood movie.
My name is Borat. I like you. I like sex. It's nice.
In 2006, Sacha Baron Cohen put Kazakhstan on the map. Well, sort of. Borat was actually shot in Romania, and the film was completely outrageous.
This is Natalia. She is my sister.
Not surprisingly, most people in Kazakhstan were offended, especially the president, Nursultan Nazarbayev, who took his complaints to Washington and launched a global PR campaign to salvage his country's battered image. But there was one Kazakh who saw this controversy as an opportunity for himself and his country. Marat Bisengaliev is a virtuoso violinist, Kazakhstan's Itzhak Perlman. He's traveled the world, a cultural ambassador for Kazakhstan.
My first impression of Borat was, of course, very negative. But I'm one of those Kazakhs who think that this film is good for Kazakhstan. I was thrilled because at last Kazakhstan was noticed. At last there is a big interest in, to see the real Kazakhstan.
Marat told me there was plenty of damage to undo. The film had created a lot of false impressions.
They didn't use anything from Kazakh culture. No language elements, no music, and even the actors were from Romania.
And perhaps most offensive was the movie's fake national anthem.
Kazakhstan's prostitutes, cleanest in the region, except of course for Turkmenistan.
The national anthem that was in the Borat movie, Kazakhstan, greatest country in the world, all other countries ruled by little girls. What was your take on that?
Well, it was so ridiculous, so over the top that, you know, anyone would smile.
Marat got the joke, but he couldn't just laugh it off.
Me personally, I just wanted something more to, I would say, to even up.
To, if you excuse the pun, even the score.
Yes, true.
But as I listened to Marat play, I wondered how he could turn this story around and, in the famous words of Borat, make benefit to the glorious nation of Kazakhstan. He did it by going straight into the belly of the beast, Hollywood. On his studio lot, I found the man who composed the soundtrack for Borat.
I can show you, I've got like, so that's my strings.
He was the key to Marat's plan.
I mean, at the moment, I've got, I think I've got a harp here.
This is Erran Baron Cohen, the brother of Sacha Baron Cohen, who played Borat.
They're very realistic sounds, and I've got some horns somewhere. Actually, my horns aren't working.
Erran writes the music for all his brother's movies, and he's the one who composed the infamous, fake Kazakh national anthem.
What happened was they were going to use the real Kazakhstani national anthem, and they couldn't get permission to use it. And I got a call on one evening saying, well, we need a new anthem by tomorrow. And the idea was to put up this very big choir. Because it was the middle of the night, I couldn't get hold of anybody, so I just had to sing every part myself. So I multi-tracked about 40 times.
Kazakhstan #1 exporter of potassium. Other countries have inferior potassium.
The Kazakhstani government and embassies initially didn't really, was not their favorite movie. I think they banned it, in fact.
So no one was more surprised than Erran when the phone rang and Marat Bisengaliev was on the line.
When this guy called Marat first rang me, I thought, is this a joke? Because, you know, the reaction had been from Kazakhstan so negative that to have someone from their orchestra ringing you up was, you know, interesting.
Marat's he's a little bit of an instigator.
Well, he's also a great musician, and he spoke about this idea of me writing a work for his orchestra. And although the initial concept of it seemed a bit funny, I do have an interest in, ethnic music and looking at things in a different way.
I'll say, Erran is the kind of musician who has no problem mixing hip-hop with a Hanukkah classic.
I made it out of clay. When I'm good and ready, I'm gonna play. Oh,
Marat, the instigator, was taking a chance on Erran, the provocateur.
I suppose part of the idea of getting me to write music for the orchestra was he knew it'd be an interesting story, which it certainly was. I'd written for orchestra for some film scores, but never for a large symphonic orchestra. So it was a real challenge, but I like a challenge.
Erran worked on the piece for months, pouring his heart into it. A symphony for Marat's orchestra called Zerye, an olive branch to Kazakhstan. In Kazakhstan, the feelings are still raw about Borat. Marat knew he was playing with fire.
I'm not afraid to take risky projects, but probably Erran's project was the most risky one.
Has there been any backlash against you personally for securing this commission?
Yes, I had a lot of comments that I'm some kind of traitor. Yes, you could find really harsh comments, of course, but I expected that. The main risk for me was to receive the score with a music which is not acceptable, which is not serious.
But that wasn't the case.
Yeah, that wasn't the case.
When Marat heard the music, he was relieved. Erran's symphony was fresh and provocative. But what would Marat's countrymen think? Marat had been wary of performing the symphony in Kazakhstan. But now, he took another chance. He decided to debut Erran's work in Kazakhstan's premier concert hall, if soundtracks would be there to film it. That was an offer we couldn't refuse. Backstage, tensions were high. How would the audience react? Can a piece of music really make amends? Even the orchestra had its doubts.
Зире — это очень впечатляющая музыка. Но это сказать трудно одному человеку. Это должен говорить весь народ.
crowd is looking a little bit thin at first, but it's filled out. We might have a packed audience.
Уважаемые дамы и господа,
Here we go.
Эрран Барон Коэн, серия первая часть. В Казахстане исполняется впервые. Солист Марат Бисенгалиев.
I have to admit that I'm quite nervous. I expect some polarized opinions of his music, especially here in Kazakhstan.
But as I listened to Marat play, I began to feel that everything was going to be all right. If atonement has a sound, this could be it.
What did you make of the fact that this was written by the brother of the guy who did Borat?
Actually, for me, it doesn't matter, just nice music, music is music, it's very international, so.
Music is a positive force. It brings people together where sometimes other things don't. So for me, that's what music is about.
For me, that's an absolutely great vindication. That's a tremendous feeling which you can imagine.
А теперь можно простить Барата?
Простить брата? Конечно, почему нельзя? Можно.
Marat's plan had worked. Out of discord, he brought harmony, and benefit was made to the glorious nation of Kazakhstan.
It takes an ocean to see the land, footprints everywhere we stand. It takes a lifetime to play one hand, a pair of shoes for every man.